Thank you for tuning in to Abundant Moments. Let's say you have a vehicle that's your favorite vehicle, it's really expensive, and you've been driving it for a little while and you're just so pleased to have that. All of a sudden, you start hearing sounds and it starts acting like something's wrong with the car, and you know things just aren't right. Well, are you going to get it checked out and to make sure then that everything's okay with your vehicle? Or will you continue to just let it go and go and go till eventually you blow the motor and you can't even drive the vehicle at all? Or let's say that vehicle is acting up and you think something's wrong with it. And so you take it to the dealership or to your mechanic and you tell them what's going on and what you think it is. But then when they start doing diagnostic testing, they find out it's something totally different. Will you stand there and argue with them and say, no, 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 it's this, I want you to fix this, when they have already showed you that it's something else? Or will you just say, oh, okay, would you please repair it for me? I thought it was this one thing, but apparently it's something else. Well, more than likely, if our vehicle is acting up, we are going to have it checked out to make sure that everything is okay, because we don't want to destroy it, and also we don't want to get stranded or injured in a faulty vehicle. Also, if something else is wrong than what we think, we're going to trust the mechanic and say, okay, yes, please repair my vehicle. Fix whatever it is that you have found is wrong. With that being said, why is it in our relationships, so many times we know that something isn't quite right? We can tell that things are a little off, that there's something in between us and the other individual that needs to be talked about, rectified, and fixed, so to speak. Why is it that sometimes we just allow it to continue until we have basically destroyed that relationship? Or why is it that sometimes we think things are one way and the other person thinks they're another way, and we will just argue and argue and argue instead of saying, you know what, it doesn't matter who is right in this, let's just fix this. Let's decide that we are going to either agree to disagree and forgive and go on, or we are going to see what the issue is and say, you know what, I was wrong in this. I accept my responsibility, and let's make things right, and let's get our relationship back on track, and let's allow it to improve instead of disintegrate right before our very eyes. Relationships are so important, and yet sometimes we take them for granted. Sometimes we allow pride to get in there and we say, well, I'm not going to say anything if they're not going to say anything. Or sometimes we say, well, I know I was right, and you might be right. But would you rather be right, or would you rather have a great relationship? Not just good, but great. Good is an enemy of great. Sometimes we settle for good. Oh yeah, it's good. Well, why don't you strive for greatness in your relationships? And why don't you decide today that you're going to make sure that everything is right? Say there is something going wrong. Don't just all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, just start saying, what's wrong with our relationship? No, tell that other person. Say, you know what? I sense that something's going on. Let's set aside a time. Can we sit down and talk at such and such time, and put away the phones, put away the television remote, and sit there and talk calmly and get things resolved so you can build your relationship, so you can take it to the next level instead of allowing it to deteriorate right before your very eyes. And before long, you think, what happened? What happened was you didn't pay attention. So let's pay attention today to our relationships, and let's do what is needful and necessary to make sure that they continue to grow and improve and become great relationships, because nothing can replace other people in our lives. So let's make sure that we pay attention today. Thank you for tuning in.